Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dealer and Dog Experience, where we talk about lifestyle, politics, modern issues, and investing. Today, we are joined with Mr. Nene, and we will be talking about artificial intelligence, IA, and AI. Artificial intelligence, AI, AI, and fintech. Mr. Nene, welcome to our podcast. We're glad we're having this conversation with you, and you can enlighten us more about this technology. Please, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Mr. Nene is an artificial intelligence and fintech, can I say expert?
I would say I have some insights on that,
on this aspect. So when somebody comes and say, who's Nene, what can we say?
Yeah, give us a little bit of a background.
A background, yeah.
Oh, background.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was born in Ghana.
Right.
I was raised there, so I went to school till I was 18. And then I got a scholarship to UBC.
Right.
And that brought me here. And then ultimately when I was done, got into finance.
Before you go on, could you push the mic a little bit down? So we can see your face.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we got into finance, and then ultimately realized, that's not the future. Then just took a leap of faith, jumped into fintech, and then now I'm in AI financial research. So
AI financial research. So when you say you got into the financial industry, what part of financial industry were you involved in?
So I was in commercial banking, and I was an analyst. So I was writing mid-market loans, anywhere between 500,000 to 15 million, that kind of range.
Right.
And it started off with more heavy construction, and then ultimately I moved to Alberta, and I was doing oil and gas,
right,
that kind of financing.
Right.
And that was fun. You write some deals here and there, I realized more or less growth there is just in the dollar amount. So I'm writing, let's say 5 million. Next year I'll write 7. Mm-hmm. And then maybe in 10 years I'll write 50, maybe 45. Maybe I could go corporate banking.
Right.
But it's only the dollar amount that's increasing. So my knowledge base, I didn't think was
stay stagnant.
Exactly.
That's interesting. Now, what triggered you to come into the fintech and artificial intelligence sector?
I think in the finance world, one thing I was noticing was there was a lot of performance, right? There was a lot of you needed to wear a suit, you needed to follow the script, you needed to be charismatic,
right?
Yes,
I know, because I'm in the financial industry.
Yeah.
I have an insurance agency and investment banking. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So it's very, very,
you have appearance is everything.
Exactly.
Appearance is everything. Yes.
Yeah. And to me, I was looking at, my brother's in tech as well.
Mm-hmm.
And basically looking to that side, I saw a lot of come as you are. It's more about the substance, what you bring versus what you look like and what presence you're giving off.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay. And you could notice a thing there, financial industry was very, very slow moving, right?
Really?
And when I say slow moving, I mean things to implement things. Took time.
Right.
Whereas on the other side,
policies and all that.
Things are going, they'll start small and then iterate, always adding little by little.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, well, first of all, what I'm doing here, not gonna lie, it's variables, and you're just taking a bunch of variables and making a decision.
Right.
This you could create, not an AI algorithm, you just a regular basic program to be written to do my job. And I started noticing it too in the hiring pattern, right? So before there were 10 people in my department, 5 left, they hired 1 more, 3 left, they hired 2 more. So you could tell that it wasn't growing.
It was a decreasing industry.
I said, they're not going to catch me in here. I asked myself, you're my boss. Uh-huh. Do I want to be you in 5 to 10 years? No.
Yes.
Stressed out every day. I'm
right.
just nah.
I'm out.
I'm out of this. Yeah. And at the time I was leaving too, I remember my boss told me you're training people, there's a lot here for you. At the time she couldn't believe it. And I was just like, honestly, I'm not happy. Yeah, like there's something in me that needs to go beyond just
to be explored.
Yeah.
How did it feel when you left?
I mean, it was
what was that conversation like?
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, my parents. I mean, African parents.
Oh God, yes.
Some stable, and they love that kind of
stability.
Yeah.
So you got a good job. You need a wife now, kids.
Yeah.
Quitting is not an option.
Honestly, it was very, very a tough conversation, especially because I was going to a fintech startup, which didn't have a cemented ground. Like it was just kicking off. It had just started, and what they were doing was like more or less my job, but not even commercial. It was like small business.
Right.
So I came in and I was like, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
It's in Vancouver. I wasn't even getting like that much of a raise. It was literally just like a little bit more.
Microscopic.
But when you move here,
yes.
And I used to be in Calgary for that year when I was doing the oil and gas. So I moved out there. So I was like, but truly what it was bringing me was an opening. It was like a way for me to switch industry. And so had the conversation with my bosses. They were telling me, one of them literally told me, you'll be back. And I told them I won't. And I was like, yeah, I went, and guess what? First day I get to this place.
Yes.
25 people left of 45, a 45 people team, 25 left.
45 people team, 25 left in Calgary.
In the startup year.
Oh.
So I'm just like
on their own, like,
you know what? I didn't even know this backstory. I mean, I came in and I saw this thing happen and I'm like, Jesus is Lord. What have I done? I've come into a sinking ship. And I'm like, they're right. I'll be back. Yeah, it was very scary, like, honestly. So that happened. And then I'm just like, geez, okay. I called my dad, and that week too, I had gotten another, like, I think one of the other banks here was recruiting for a similar position and someone had reached out. So I was like, maybe I should just jump. But my dad was like, nah, go through it. This might be like them coming of age. They are rediscovering themselves.
Right.
And you just being here at this material time, you don't even have the baggage of that.
So whatever was happening before that. Yeah. So this is new.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'll stay here, stick it out. Ultimately, 9 months later, the company was going through struggles. COVID had happened, and I mean, they had to kind of even downsize more. And I got caught in the crosshairs of that. 10 months right after you took that leap of faith, they're telling you, hey, like in the next month, you need to find something else. And I mean, I don't have enough experience in fintech, and they were using AI too. So I'm like, okay, I could just go back to my banking. I have that to fall back on. I call my boss. She's like, okay, yeah, if you need to come back, like you can be here for a month and then come back to Calgary.
Right.
And I was thinking about it. I was like, but I hated that job, So I just called my brother. We spoke and he told me, nah, no, it's not a good move. Like we'll find something. So I just go full on aggressive mode, start taking some courses, doing some real networking, just talking to people in the city, and then doing like the recruiter who got me to the
job in Calgary.
The job here.
Right.
She spoke to me and told me, nah, you aren't meant for that old thing. So she started prepping me, like we'll talk every day, going through some things, and then jobs were coming. She'll push some, and then ultimately I saw this role, and I was like, honestly, this role is made for me because it's financial AI research.
Right up your industry.
Yeah, I know, right? I used to be in like finance pure.
Right.
I've now moved to an fintech company that was using AI.
Right.
And then now I get to get the benefit of both because my current job does it it's like financial AI research for RBC.
Oh.
So it's like an RBC AI research lab.
Right.
So I'm just getting to do both of my jobs.
That's crazy.
The stability of...
You got into what you wanted to get in after you quit the banking industry, but it brought you back into the banking industry, but in the sector that you want to be in.
Exactly.
That's interesting because RBC is one of the biggest in Canada, banks in Canada, especially with investments. I think it's number one for investment, and then number two would be TD or BMO.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Number 2 will be Scotia or TD. But yes, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was like a kind of dream come true. It's almost like you get the stability of the bank,
right?
But then you get the agility of the research side and the software development, that combination there. So yeah, I was like, okay, great. And I saw this opportunity. I was like, yeah, this one's mine. And the prep work was insane. I mean, like, we're talking a good 24 physical hours, like, of preparation, because I'm like, I saw this thing as mine. I'm taking that job.
Going for it.
Yeah. I mean, we're reading people's research papers from some of the interviewers' research papers. So I had talking points.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the journey right now. And it's been almost another 10 months in, and it's been going really well. Like, it's now academia, right?
Right.
Just working with researchers and developers to build AI products to help, make RBC or keep RBC competitive. So
how do you think the AI will benefit our lives in the future? Like, how important do you think AI is? And how important is it for people to incorporate AI in their businesses if they want to last longer,
And fintech too.
So honestly, I think a lot of people, when they think of artificial intelligence, they think some
robots
or
that's exactly like that magical. Is my mind.
But honestly, what it is just like very, very fast statistics happening. It's just literally regressions happening, right? So more or less, you're just looking at some patterns that existed, and then you are just kind of correlating them and saying, okay, how can we get the best possible outputs out of this, right? And so really, like, most of the fundamentals to AI is just, again, like looking at some, focal losses. But more or less what you are trying to do is just optimize a decision. And if you're in like some industries that do this at a high level, like airline industry, where you're optimizing bookings and stuff like that, or even manufacturing, you're used to this kind of concept. So just imagine you're doing that at scale for almost anything, right? So like, let's say Netflix, right? Your recommendation is based off of some AI engine that looks at the shows you like, looks at other people that watch the similar shows as you, and then it kind of tries to map you to the nearest person or the nearest group, and then it says, oh, your match rate is blah, blah, blah. Right. And so that's the kind of angle it's doing. It's like, it's personalizing content to you. It's doing things that, again, this is I'll take it from the banking perspective too, because I was making decisions based on a set of variables, right? Your business balance sheet, your income statement, I'll look at it. Guess what? I'll kind of make some inference. Okay, this is where you fall in. Mm-hmm. I'll look at a policy, the bank policy, and say, okay, where do you fall? How do we get you? Like, are you approved? Maybe you're not. What can you give us as additional collateral as a business, right? And then ultimately I'll say yes or no, with some interest rate depending on the risk. If you really break this down, it's not that hard of a problem that some computer can be making within seconds.
So instead of a person doing it, we just have an AI be able to get down to the end and be able to determine if the person can get a loan or not.
Yeah, and within seconds, and it doesn't take coffee breaks. It doesn't need to be paid for insurance. All these things.
No,
and it doesn't forget.
I think this would be like easy access for people to get money quickly too.
Mm-hmm. It will simplify the whole process of accessing funds and assessing people who would qualify for these things. Because I'll speak on one of insurance company that we're contracting with, IA. The one with an elephant. So they have one of the best systems for agents to use. It's very intuitive. It's very effortless,
seamless.
You know what I mean? And it's visually exciting. Like you're doing things. You're clicking here. You're clicking there. It excites you.
The interface is nice.
Yeah,
the interface is freaking amazing.
Yeah,
and I applaud them for. Keeping up with the Joneses. Yeah, they're way up there. Now, I have something I would like your input in. and maybe you can advise me in terms of what will be the best course of action in that field in terms of investment and insurance. And then maybe you can see how you can help me have these things correlate with each other with respect to artificial intelligence. And another question: how intelligent is artificial intelligence? Like, is this thing that good, or it depends on the programmer? Yeah. Can it learn itself?
Okay, so I think where we'll start from is this two. So intelligence as itself is hard to define, right? Like, everybody's definition of intelligence varies, right? Like, I could go give a research presentation to someone in like my village, and they'll look at me like, what the hell are you talking about? Right? True. Right, back in Ghana. Yeah. And I could talk to someone here and they're like, oh my God, this guy is brilliant.
Right.
The concept of intelligence, we don't know if it's tied to consciousness or like being able to string thoughts together or make it easy to understand. What we know is like a system that's able to make decisions autonomously, right? Now there's two types. So there's intelligence that is towards like one specific task.
Right.
Then we have general intelligence. So you have artificial intelligence, me telling the robot to pour water into this thing, and then it does that. Or we have me giving it any specific task, or me giving it anything and just speaking, and then it's able to process that, synthesize, and then make the decision. Now that's the general. And so right now, I think on the specific case,
right,
we're there. Like, you can literally just get an algo that would take pictures anytime I smile. It's so easy to do, right? Like,
wait a minute.
Like, if you could kind of set it up in a way where
we can tell the camera right now,
anytime you smile, take a picture, and it will do
it.
But we can't say anytime you smile, frown. Like, there's so many, or we say,
variables.
Okay, yeah, if the water, fill this water bottle as well. It can't do all those things because there's too much, like the compute is too much.
Right.
Like, there's a system. So OpenAI came up with this platform. So OpenAI is like, I guess Elon Musk and like another big name came up with this to kind of look at the ethics of it. And they've kind of built a general system that is able to learn off of experiential knowledge. So they pull information from the internet. So if you basically tell it anything, it can do a lot. It can do a lot of things, right? But like, they found there's some flaws. Like, if you put an iPhone on this, you write iPhone and you put it on this, it might miscategorize this as an iPhone. So it still has some flaws. But in general, like, if you put it on a Excel sheet and you just start typing the names, like you just say random country, population, blah, 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 and you just put the function on top of that, it will generate all these details for you. So it's promising.
I'm not sure if you saw this, but a few months ago, Elon's company Neuralink, they dropped a video with a monkey playing ping pong with his brain. So what do you think about it? What do you think the future holds if we can get to a position like that? Because it was insane. The monkey learned how to play the ping pong without even using the joystick.
But you see, if you watch that, what happens is, like, so in the AI phase, when you're building the system, you have this kind of training data and then test and validate. So you go through these 3 steps, right?
Right.
So there has to be a training phase. So you saw he was playing with it at first, and then it started mapping his kind of I don't know if it's like his brain.
What he wants to do in his brain.
With what he's doing with his hand. And then ultimately they unplugged it.
He was rewarded too with a smoothie.
Exactly. So there's a reward function too. So even with AI, you can kind of like teach it in a way where it's like every time you're correct, you're rewarded. And every time you're incorrect, you're, there's like some punishment. So that's how they do it. There's that also concept in there. So it's literally taking our brain and how we kind of
process and compute things.
And that's where the motivation comes from. And that's where you see like most AI systems, they drive with like a link to some neurons, and they even speak with those kind of terms because that is essentially what you're doing.
But when we this is exciting. When we're talking about data, There's testing data, and what's the other type of data?
Validation.
So testing data, you need a lot of data. I have seen a company which I'm not going to name. I have a friend who's in that field, and they were uploading their system to the AWS, to the Amazon cloud system. Yeah. And the data they have on simple things,
I'm telling you,
it's excessive.
It's not excessive, though. I think maybe you just finish your point and let's.
So, like, how do you come up with this and the privacy level of that? Because,
wait, is this the data of individual people, or like?
It's probably masked or encrypted, so you can't maybe match it to.
You can't match it to an individual.
Oh, but it's definitely data.
Yeah, so people definitely individual data of people, but you can assign numbers to a behavior, and then that you go in, it will have more broader spectrum of what this person does, and that's the same technology.
Oh, it's kind of like the way Facebook collects our data.
So this person is in connection with Facebook, and boy.
I mean, but it's been known from time that obviously all these companies, most of them,
they share data.
Especially Google, YouTube,
that's what they do.
They collect all your behavior, patterns, or whatever you do,
right?
And it's all being sold to who knows who.
Right, but the thing is that
whether you like it or not,
but you choose to, right? Like when you accept all those cookies, what do you think you're doing?
Yes,
you're giving them.
You're giving them to access to information.
Yeah.
But the thing is, even though we fight about privacy, but it's really highly needed that we share this data with these companies.
Yeah.
Because it will help alleviate a lot of problems. I'm a big advocate in privacy, but some of the data does not really, like, if you're putting your naked photos on Instagram, home address on everything, and then you don't want a company to share this data, but most of these companies, before you use them, they'll tell you, we have to use your data. Or if you say no, then you're not using our stuff. But they are so embedded into our ecosystem that we have no choice but to give them the data if we want to access their services.
Yeah, because you're getting it for free. I mean, like, this is why I always tell people, if you're getting something for free, you're the product. And at the end of the day,
it is true.
Yeah, but
it is true.
If you didn't want highly customized ads, which you like because it's telling you, okay, you want sneakers, go buy these sneakers.
Right.
Yeah, you want to just be getting ads of nothing, like of things you don't like. So it's also the personalization, customization, and you get to use them for free. Someone is paying for this, and they need to also pay for it. So it's just a cycle of business. And I think sometimes we get sucked in the privacy part.
Right.
But when you really want, if you want, you can actually tell Google not to store any of your data. It's just then you also don't get to access a lot of the perks of being, giving them your data. It's a give and take almost. I know sometimes it's dangerous, but at the end of the day,
the level of it being dangerous, meaning that if I've seen how what's the data center for the CIA? What is it called? NSA? NSA?
I'm not entirely sure. But
National Security Association, NSA. How they use data is ridiculous. That is not a good data usage. But Elon Musk, I think Elon Musk, and there's another company in France. It's a car manufacturer. I think it's called Opel or Citroën. I don't know if I'm saying it right. The French people can excuse me. But they have, I think Citroën or either Citroën or Opel have, I think, level 5 autonomy, which is full autonomy. I think it's the only company in the world.
Level 5?
Yes. Level 5, yeah.
Have they announced this publicly?
It was on YouTube, yeah, level 5. They were testing and even...
Oh, so it's not available to the public yet?
No, it's not available to the public. And the crazy part is they're not building a vehicle. They're not building a single car. They have 3 cars for prototypes.
That's it.
But they're going to sell the technology.
Yeah.
They're not
Software
going
as
to,
a service.
because they were like, oh, why you guys don't have any plan? You're not selling enough cars. He said, we got out of the car business a while ago.
Yeah.
We only have like 3-4 models. That's it. All our money and resources going into this for over a decade plus.
Yeah.
But now they're ahead of everybody. The second person to them is Tesla. And there's another European company also is not looking to sell cars, but to sell the technology. But the level 5, it's insane.
You know, people always also, I hear so many people talking about, so what happens if, you know, this car hits? And I'm like, but think about daily how many accidents happen.
Because
just, you know, because and it's also like counterparty risk. Like I'm driving and my fear is I'm driving and there's someone else who's gonna hit me. Right. At the end of the day, I can't control that. Like if we're all in one system, it's almost your one decision being made, right? So if they say go, it's not gonna be, you're not gonna crash into each other. And the sooner, I think the problem becomes if you have autonomy and then you have humans as well driving.
Yes.
That's the issue.
Yes.
Right? We all, let's say, aggressively said, okay, in 5 years, everybody's moving to autonomous driving.
Yes.
It's so much better.
It's
like
100% better because I was watching Mercedes-Benz in German. Was it the Stuttgart factory? And Stuttgart, Munich, and Frankfurt. They have these square towns that they're building where they like level 3 into level 5 testing within the city where people live.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. I have seen these cars. So you would pull up to your the numerous the last S-Class model before the new one. I think they have an EQS. Do you see there's like the luxury sedan version, but a full electric one.
Yeah.
Insane. But prior to that, they had this, and I was watching on YouTube too. So they have this system where you can literally drive to your office at the front gate, get out of your car, tell the car to go to park. You know how you would have a designated parking stall? Underground, above ground, whatever parking ground lot you have. The vehicle will drive itself to the parking and back itself and stay there.
Yeah, until you're ready.
You're ready to go. And then you can click, come meet me, and it will pull up to the front door of your office.
I'm telling you.
And you live. You alleviate so much time.
Yeah. Even think about it from I saw this one company, I don't know if it's not Impact, but one in the States where they're trying to, they've been buying real estate in the city because they think the model that's going to come is a subscription car service.
Right.
Where we don't own cars. You just
It's useless.
Yeah, you just own the time. So if I want to come here, all I'm doing is just querying, come and pick me, drop me.
Yes.
I don't own the car. It's just there. We all own it. It's almost like a ride share kind of, but
it's a fantastic
thing. It
thing.
makes so much sense. And you can have like automatically so many people are doing what's it called? Like what's that thing where everybody's in the car together? Carpooling.
Yes.
You know, we're all going.
And that will reduce a lot of traffic. Because a lot of
so much.
Imagine if 4 people lived in a house and all of them have a car and all of them go downtown.
Trust me, that's what it is. Have you seen those videos or those heuristics where you see like, oh, all of you in one car, right? And then they remove the cars and then they bring all of them into 3 buses. And they all fit in 3 buses. And then they're like, there's no traffic. You're the traffic. Because why? Why do cars need to be...
Especially if you're driving as a single person. It's useless.
Yeah.
It's absolutely useless.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it makes no sense.
Truly.
It makes no sense. Because, so now, I think... you've been to Europe, right? They have very fantastic train systems.
Honestly.
And they have these in London now. You cannot drive into the central.
You just park and then you get into the train and then...
Yeah, so you got to park somewhere else. But you know how much it costs? Like £8 to drive into the city. So when it's like, you see these viaduct we have here? So when the moment you cross here...
It charges you.
It charges you to go through it. Like you're going to get an invoice for it. So you either pay £5 or £8 to drive into the city because you're gonna cause congestion. So it was like, yeah. So the only people driving into the city are either taxi, emergency vehicle, and if you're private car, you're done.
They should do the same over here.
Yeah.
A lot of people stop driving.
No, they suggested it. They say this is what would happen if you don't leave downtown. You cannot drive downtown.
But the idea of the ride sharing, it reminds me of Elon Musk's company, the Boring Company, the tunnel that he's building.
Right.
I think it's from Las Vegas to somewhere.
Yeah.
To California to Las Vegas.
The tunnels will only operate with Teslas, and people will just go in, same thing, just pull up an app, click in it, get in the car, and then you'll be taken to wherever you want to go. So,
but
that's just insane.
Speed is
Imagine
crazy,
no traffic.
Build a tunnel
all over the
states.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
And then go international after that. But he's slowly.
Do you know I love Elon? To be honest, I honestly think when you look at the things he targets, right, they're bigger than companies. They're like big problems that most people run away from. Right?
Because nobody wants to deal with it.
That's why I think this dude is not human.
Yeah, people say he's an alien, but
he's a real Tony Stark.
I know, right? But
literally, we should give him that Iron Man status.
I'm telling you, and he doesn't take himself seriously. Like, it's too serious. That's what part I love about him. When you see him, he just changes.
He plays too much. He jokes too much.
Yeah, I feel like the way he's been able to engage with people, especially on Twitter.
Yeah.
If you're on Twitter, you see what he does.
Yeah, he's the new Donald Trump with stocks.
I know, right?
I feel like stocks. All these coming CEOs should learn a thing or two with what he's doing, because the way he's getting people engaged with him, it also helps grow his business in general. So I think that's really good. I wanted to ask you: have you dabbled a little bit into cryptocurrency?
Oh yeah. I'm a believer, and I'm like a bit of a skeptic in one way. So I think the technology itself is the future. I think the currencies that exist right now, they don't offer something that I think governments require. And so the whole system we have right now is built on trust, right?
You mean the financial system?
The financial system we have is built on trust, right? At the crux of it. If I give you $10, and that $10, you go to a place and say they are not going to take it, and we've all agreed that $10 is it doesn't work. The whole system breaks, right? Same thing with assets, right? Property rights need to be in place. Problem with crypto is the anonymity brings problems. So there was this one guy that was caught in Germany, and they were trying to seize his crypto, and my guy was like, I'm not giving it to you. They held him, detained him. And they can't get access to it either.
Yeah,
right?
they kill him, but you're not going to
get it. You don't get it. So it's done. And I don't know if you heard of another guy here too, in Canada. They opened this Quadriga CX. Did you ever hear of that?
Yeah, I know what they did. They're just full of shit.
Yeah. So it's, to me, that's the part, the legislation part, and also the regulation. And that goes against what, crypto is made to be decentralized and,
But I think people should also do their own research before they put their money into something, because there's a lot of rugs and a lot of scams everywhere, not only in crypto, even in real life as well.
No, 100%.
Because if you look at the Nikola company, Trevor Milton, I'm not sure if you it was a stock on but it was also it's a scam. The stock has been going down from the beginning. And he already bought his house. I think he bought a 50 million, I don't know, 14 million. But he already got the money and he dipped. Yeah. So there's scams everywhere. You have to do your own research before you put your money into any.
But see, I'm not thinking it's an investment or not. I'm not saying that. I'm not looking at it from an investment. I'm looking at the technology. And that's where I'm saying I think it has so many use cases, right? Like if I'm buying tomatoes here and I want to know the life of it, and I can scan the tomato and see all the parts that it went through in the supply chain. Right. That's where I see it. And then even in terms of our money, being able to know that no one can really, we don't need a paper trail that can be, it's literally just, you can just tell
digital footprint.
Digital footprint.
You just click, I want this information, and you have it
That's why I love.
You can see all the transactions online. Everything is open. There's no what do you call this? There's nothing hidden. Yeah. Because in the banking system now, I mean, I'm not really familiar, but it's more centralized. It's just a few group of people who make decisions for everybody.
But it's changing, though. Open banking is in Europe already.
It's slowly, but they need to change and keep up with the crypto.
It's coming, though. In Canada has this, I don't know if is it Pepita or
Pipetta?
One of them.
Yeah.
But
so what are they doing specifically?
So open banking, like in Europe, it's literally at this point where you own your data. So essentially, I can connect to any app. Like any app can request my information. Do it. And you're seeing it come now too, because I use two apps, Cleo and Mint.
I have Mint. Yeah. I use Mint a lot.
Cleo, I recommend highly. Like
Cleo,
It'll do a.
We'll put a link in the description below. Yeah. Cleo.
The Cleo they have a roast mode, right, where it just aggregates all your finances. Mm-hmm. So you just connect to all your banks and systems, and then it just gives you a centralized viewpoint of your one digit like financial story.
Right.
So it tells you your debt, tells you how much assets, all that.
Can you even connect to Wealthsimple?
Yeah. Wealthsimple, RBC, all these, like the banks. Right. And then at the end of the day, you can put it in and tell it what your goals are, whatever. And there's a roast mode, and they'll literally just roast you, tell you that $1,000 you spent on food last week, is it helping you reach your goal of, and it swears. I mean, this thing is very honest. It literally says, okay, are you ready? Mm-hmm. And then it just you'll see in the back fire, like they'll start with like some fire, and it starts flaming you, telling you how bad you've been with it. And they send you reports weekly reports. It messages you like sometimes, and then it gives you an option to kind of save as well, like the Wealthsimple.
Right.
But I love it because for this generation, honestly, people love the truth. Don't give me sugar coated. Tell me what it is.
Run down stuff. No. Watered down stuff. That's crazy, because how would you compare to Mint? Because I use Mint. By the way, we're going to put the description below on for both of these apps, Cleo and Mint. Everything will be down below. So how would you compare Cleo to Mint?
I think Cleo and Mint are similar, but the thing is Mint is very more watered down and very like, I'm just showing you a full picture. So Mint does the same thing.
Right.
Another company I really love is Intuit or Intuit.
Intuit.
I think they might be the biggest financial player just from the angle they're moving.
Right.
Taxes.
Yes. So Intuit is the mother company for QuickBooks, Mint
and TurboTax.
TurboTax.
Yeah.
And they covered everything need.
They have everything.
But yeah, you have one account with Intuit. You can use it on all those three
platforms. Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of integration we're looking for, right? Like, to me, a lot of things are simple services. And I think, like, public sector should really pull from this. Because, like, if I'm telling you, to be honest, if you gave Amazon the vaccine rollout strategy by now, we would all be vaccinated.
I know. They'll be quicker.
It'll be way quicker.
More efficient.
Like, the planning that will go in, and they'll do it within such a short period of time.
Right.
So that's the thing. Like, so many things are there that you don't even need to do yourself. It's already done. Just build a pipeline that integrates.
So what you're saying is 100%. I agree with that. But the problem you have to understand, there's a lot of old heads, old money, people in the government sectors that have had all these contracts. It's free money. I was looking at a teachers fund, bro.
The pensions.
The pension fund. Teachers, listen. Teachers, firefighters. It's ridiculous. Like, they're getting tiny little interest growth on them, and I'm like, wait a minute. Do you know the inflation is going up?
Yeah.
Like, you guys are trying to beat this thing, or are you trying, like, there will be no money for them to retire.
Yeah.
The figure they're promised now, even if they still give you $2,000 or $5,000 a month or $3,000 a month, $3,000 a month today.
In the future.
I mean, you're losing 3.5% a year.
Yeah, I feel like the education institutions, especially from Africa, where we're from, they don't really do a good job of prepping us for the financial world.
I don't think that anywhere does that.
How to deal with the money.
Yeah.
How to start saving. How to start investing early. Because I feel like if I knew, or if my dad or mom told me about how to invest or how to look in stocks, I would have been putting in money earlier since the first day I've been in here. But it's unfortunate because there was nobody to guide, to guide or to tell us, you should do this, you should do that. So I feel like if the educational institutions could just incorporate a course for people to know how to manage their money better.
I think there's a point here to be made too. I think here doesn't do it either because the system benefits off of people not knowing.
Not knowing.
So they can capitalize on it.
Exactly.
Right.
Especially for international students coming here. You're coming here and you're getting all this money every month from your parents consistently. And you don't know what the hell to do with it, but you're just blowing it, right? And then when it's
time to
when shit hits the fan, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, what's happening? But ask yourself this too. I think there's also a bit of a misconception there where it comes to having knowledge of something means you act on it. Because financial professionals actually are known not to be like great. Like in the banking system, I saw some study that said, you knowing that, okay, I should, like how the interest rates work on my credit card and whatnot, you just know about it, but it doesn't mean you're great with following them.
Following through, yeah.
So it's almost like, I don't know if it's the education system or like creating systems or creating apps that help you do things like subconsciously. So imagine your savings was moving like a subscription service where you don't think about it and the money just keeps getting invested for you. You just kind of sign out. And the same way your Netflix comes out of your account, your savings goes out of your account, and you just you're not doing anything. Because that's the thing that gets people actually. And then one day you wake up and you check your balance on your thing. You're like, oh, wow, I have 15K here.
Yeah. So what you're saying is what in my field we would call dollar cost averaging. That weekly automatic contribution. And it's fantastic. You don't have to think about it. The amount that comes out every week is small, that you do not notice it at the end of the month. If you do a chunk, you're like, shit, I'm not putting that money, it's too much. Yeah. I don't feel like saving.
Exactly.
But if you consistently do every week or every other, whatever transaction, it saves you a lot of the stress that, oh my God, I'm putting too much money.
Yeah.
But when you catch this because the market does this, right?
Yeah.
It's always going up, but it's like a yo-yo it's like somebody playing with a yo-yo on an escalator. The escalator is always going up, but it's doing this.
Yeah.
So this dollar cost averaging weekly contribution that's automatic, it will save us in the long run to save money.
Exactly.
So I 100% agree with what you guys are doing with this fintech, with REA, in the financial industry. But what scares me the most is the baby boomers.
Yeah.
The millennials, not Generation Z, the millennials. And before the millennials, because the millennials are catching up.
Yeah.
Before the millennials, people who are in their 50s, 60s now, but by the time they retire, people who are in their 45s, by the time they retire, the traditional money is going to be gone. The youth is getting smarter now. They're not putting the money where they used to put. So if there's pension to be paid by the time baby boomers die off, the 45s now, they're going to be in their 60s. By the time they turn into their 60s, baby boomers already spent all the available pension. Because young people now, they're leaving countries. They're not grounded by factories that, hey, I would stay here because my factory I work is right there. I work here for 40 years. No. I work here, something better comes up, I'm out.
Yeah.
So the stability for governments to bring in this pension revenue that they used to deduct from people's money is going to be very minuscule. And now people like you and I are on podcasts telling people these secrets. So imagine all the young people watching this. They're going to be acting right at their age, 19, 20. They have 25 years before they're 45. But they will have all this knowledge from now. By the time they turn 45, it's game over.
Yeah.
We don't want to give the government our money because they're misusing it. I mean,
but you have to though. So I think that's
we have to
the end
to support social services.
I think the pension system currently is kind of broken because like you just have some asset manager that needs to get his money for like 5 years and then he's just gone, right?
Right.
But essentially it will change and it will come in a point where they'll start grouping like mutual funds as is will have to evolve. Right. There'll be some kind of vehicle that like right now ETFs are like the next thing, but there'll be some product that will evolve. And I think that's what happens as people keep becoming more and more sophisticated,
right?
More portfolios, and we have robo advisors, whatnot. Will eventually happen.
And positive. the ETF and mutual fund game, it's pretty interesting. A lot of people want to go through the ETF route, but the mutual fund side is much better. The problem is people go to traditional banks to exercise this. They say, sure, but an ETF is just a product that mimics
mutual funds. It's just like no active management.
So it's like a coach without it's like a soccer team without a coach. That's the ETF.
Yeah.
But a mutual fund is like a soccer team with a coach. They will do better than this. Also, the ETF have this, they're exchange traded funds.
Yeah.
But they have all these. Every time you put money into an ETF, you have to pay a fee. Mutual funds are different. You don't have to pay money every time you contribute for that. So
are you talking about the expense ratio?
Yeah, the MER.
So MER is lower with ETFs.
Yeah.
So it could be 1% or 1.5, depending on what type of ETF you're on. Most mutual funds, they're between 2 to 2.5.
Yeah.
Now, it's a 1% off on MER. But the difference is, every time you contribute money into your mutual fund, you don't have to pay a fee for that transaction. On an ETF, every time you contribute money, you have to pay a fee for that transaction. So in the long run, if you're not looking careful, you'll be spending a lot more money. You say, oh, I like ETF because I have 1%, but you are paying a fee every time you contribute money into it or you take money out.
With that being said,
different from mutual fund. But we'll talk more about this, and you and I need to sit more about this and talk more.
With that being said, do you have any final thoughts before we end this off, Nene?
No, I mean,
advice to our viewers.
I would say stay on top of the times and kind of project yourself into the future.
Right.
And don't be afraid to take leaps of faith.
Right.
Because that's where all the learning happens.
Right.
When you take that step, trust me, especially when you're younger, there's little to lose.
Right.
Don't look for the comfort zone.
I always tell people not to look on the comfort zone. Question.
And Nene has a podcast called Lagos to Accra. We'll put the link in the description down below. Please go support, like, and listen to his podcast.
Go subscribe to both of us.
It's really good. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. Peace out.
Peace out.